Shield, shield, shield. And we back, baby. We back. Hey, Romy, introduce yourself to the people for those that don't know you, man. Tell them who
All
you
right.
are and what you
What's
do.
up, good people? Rome in the building. We got another great topic this week. Let's get it in.
Hey, for the sake of Black History, I want to just the last week of Black History. I want to rep my school, Norfolk State. Hey, y'all saw that dude? Man, give me some, son. Hey, you saw my man with that dunk that was on ESPN, man. He got up, man. And you see Michael Vick coaching. Hey, all I'm saying to you is watch out for the other Spartans. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Watch out for the other Spartan there, Robbie.
Hey, hey, somebody got to win around here. Might as
Hey,
well be y'all.
I am not mad, man. I ain't mad. So we appreciate y'all spending time with us, man, coming back in and keeping it real under the shield and all of that good stuff. So we got a good one for you. My man Lim, pray for him, man. That man talking about some he on the 405. He might be going to Figueroa or something. We have no idea what we have no idea where that man young Lemuel is, man. But we gonna, for the sake of the shield, man, we gonna keep this thing rocking. We got a good one for y'all. So the topic this week is pick one. Pick one. It's your kids or your spouse. And you shouldn't have to pick technically. We get it. But guess what? There's some people out here really, really choosing. Let me give you an example. I remember when I was a shorty and I used to come and I used to stay at my sister's house, right? And I remember, man, she used to. Oh, I'm talking about, and I hope she don't get mad at me saying this. I'm gonna say it anyway. So I'm sorry. So my sister boyfriend was a mechanic, the neighborhood mechanic. Hear me, Romy, my man. I put that carburetor around there with the cigarette. He was one of them, right? So all you know is, after a hard day work, she had his plate ready. I'm talking about bath water. Sugar, you hear me? Bath water. She had his plate, hot plate, the whole nine. And I remember I'm probably about 8, 9 years old, but I remember in my head, I'm like, hey, I can't wait to get grown. I can't wait, man. And so all along, you would think my man was out here truly, really bringing in the bacon. But for an alley mechanic, you getting $160 for some brakes, carburetor. I put that carburetor on there like he was putting engines in there. So respectfully, because this is respectfully, because he was doing the best he can. I get it in those times, but what I was trying to explain is my man had all this stuff first. I'm not saying her kids wasn't taken care of. That's not what I'm saying. But my man had his bad water and that meal first, and his little beer, everything already done. So he had everything done already. What you say, Romy?
Oh man.
Who
Oh,
we
there
got?
goes Lil.
Hello,
We got
hello,
little boy young
hello, hello, hello. Can't start the show
with
without your
that tight
boy.
shirt on, front to the back on the full top. Are you on Figueroa Street?
Can't start without me. Come on now.
We already started. You got to be early. You teaching the people the wrong lesson.
Here
Are
you
you
go.
on? The people ask in the comments, "Are you on Figueroa Street?"
No, I don't go on Figueroa. I don't know nothing about Figueroa. That's for those guys that into those other activities. I'm not into those activities.
Man, shut up. Figueroa is a big street and it goes a long way.
No,
So
I don't go too far away when your pockets is
I went to go get
All
my
right, let's
church.
get to the show. What
I
we
went
got
to go
going
get
on
my
here?
church on Figueroa before. I don't know what you talking about. So, Romaine, tell me your experience about the spouse or the kids and them actually picking one. What you say, Ron, before we play this clip?
Man, what's crazy is prior to marriage, you just have no clue until you look at your big mama and your pawpaw, whatever you called him, big papa. He got his plate first. That was just the way it was when we was coming up. It wasn't no, grandma, I'm starving. Why you can't make mine first? I'm a little kid. No, it was he got his plate first, then everybody else get their plate. So I feel like, that's how they was able to make it 50, 60 years in marriage. They understood the dynamics of, the household. They understood that the man was the leader of the household. Whether he provided all the money or not, they understood that. So that's my take on it before we go into this clip, and then we'll dive into it more.
Come on, Lim. Hey, introduce yourself to the people that don't know you. Drive safely and tell us what's your fondest memory about choosing a spouse or the kid.
Well, I'm King Lemuel. Everybody that don't know me, running a little late. I apologize today, but I will tell you this. I remember, and similar to what Rome said, being at a family reunion, and we said grace, and one of the kids went to reach for the piece of chicken and got his hand slapped. Say, if you don't get your hand back, you know Big Pawpaw want the breast. So Big Pawpaw said, you ain't got to hit the child like that. Say he was out of line. So the child said, I'm sorry, Big Pawpaw. So Pawpaw reached in and got that big breast, and then everybody was able to proceed to get their chicken. So it used to be order in the household. So I'll say that when we go to the clip.
I love it. I love it, man. Let's spark some. Hey, today, let's make this one epic. I want to spark some controversy, right? Let's go ahead and shake the dice, man. So come on, Suge, play the clip for us, man.
I grew up in the 90s in the black community. The community I grew up was called Del Paso Heights. And of course, my community consisted of a lot of single mothers or divorced mothers. And mine was a divorced mother. So I got to see my mom do a lot of things on her own. And wow, she was courageous. And when I saw my mom doing what she was doing, and I came across women who had kids, as a man, I thought it was completely okay to be a secondary figure in somebody's life. After all, the men that my mother dated had to take a secondary position to us. And again, when you grew up in the black community in the time that I did, that was the way it was. And me and you black men can attest to that. It's a lot different now. The younger guys are saying no to single moms. But those of you who come up in the 90s, in the 80s, or even before then, that was the culture. And we heard many women say things like this.
I think at the end of the day, as long as I remind myself that being a mum is my first priority, and it's a gift. It's a gift from God. Everything else comes second. So with that in mind, regardless of whatever changes, getting married, getting a new business, expanding this, getting whatever happens in my life, the one thing that comes and will always come first is the kids.
I saw some other women who had a different position. And it was really unorthodox in comparisons to what we hear every day.
We made a promise to each other that even when we have kids, that we would make sure that we would put each other first. Now, that can be, for some, I'm sure, that have kids, you're like, oh no, my kids come first. Well, guess what? Them kids will be gone. And you know what, who you have to live with? That person. Well, I have to live with him. And so we made a conscious effort to put each other first. And even when our kids came around, we made sure that we put each other first. And we did not feel guilty about it. Our kids knew and they understood from a very, very young age that that was important to us. And it makes us better parents. And I didn't care what they said. I didn't care how much they cried. We are going to take care of each other first because it makes us better for each other. It makes us good role models for you as children. So get over it.
But wait, there's more.
You see them.
Okay. So I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to discuss. As you can see, we got people say. I mean, we all know people like that. Their whole premise and basics of life is to just be a mother or be a father. Hey, let's flip it because we hear a lot of women that just want to be mothers. But let's face it, there's a lot of dudes that feel like I'm getting older. I have nothing to show for my life. Let me go ahead and shoot up the club. And they want a kid too, and even if you don't have any kids, you didn't thought about it, right? What happens if I have a few little Lemuels running around here? You didn't thought about it. So the premise is Everybody wants some accomplishments. People want kids. I don't think kids is for everybody, but we talking about the order, right? We talking about the order. When you have a kid, do you say, "Ooh, this was just my accomplishment," and then it's over? And then why we don't give a lot of credit to the stepfather that Lim be hating on, right? So we gonna talk about a lot of stuff. Yeah, we done had these conversations before in this show, so we gonna talk about a lot of stuff. So I encourage everybody, don't do like Lim and drive. Get your popcorn, sit on your chair. We got a lot to discuss. Come on, Romy, hit us with something.
Well, if you listen to what the young lady just said there, they took great pride in putting each other first. Putting the spouse first. I remember coming up as a kid. I'm gonna say probably teenager, somewhere around 16. Um, Even to this day, you'll hear people say, "Happy wife, happy life." There's this whole saying that came along, and the truth of the matter is, in order to have a happy house, I always say, "Happy spouse, happy house." And if you putting each other first, what that means is it's not that you're neglecting the children, you're not feeding them. People understand a 2-year old, a 1-year old can't make their own food, things of that nature. What that's saying is you're putting each other first, meaning you're still courting one another. You're still doing the things that it took to get that person when you asked the young lady to, will she marry you? And when you said, I do. So you're keeping your vows by tending to each other along the way, because you live long enough, you'll see that you're going to need that spouse in some real pivotal moments in your life. So it's one of those things where if you forget one another and you just focus on children, 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 your marriage will become a business and you'll start functioning that way. That's my take.
Come on, Lim, what you got?
So for me, I'm thinking about it from this angle. If the parents are in a healthy space, they're supposed to be modeling healthy behavior to those children. So what does a marriage supposed to look like? How are two people who actually care and love for each other, how are they supposed to interact on a daily basis? So if the parents are more into the children than they are into each other and modeling that type of behavior and in a healthy situation, then it's not going to work anyway. Now, here's one of the reasons why you hear uh, parents, mothers, fathers, single people, parents saying that they put their children first. Is because they've been hurt and emotionally scarred, and they know that people, men and women, sometimes can come and go, but those children are not going to easily leave you. So some people will cling to their children because they've been hurt and know that they won't be disappointed as much by children, even though children disappoint us too. But that's kind of the logic there. You heard two viewpoints. You heard the young lady who said, "Yeah, I got to put my kids first," and you had the other young lady who said, "Well, no, it's about me and my husband, and the children will be second to us and learn from us." So it's very interesting when you take those two dynamics and we form an opinion for our own families. That's my take.
We love it. We love it. So my thing is it right or wrong? If I put my kid first, I'm okay. I'm gonna take the woman stand. We ain't got no women on here, right? Take the women stance. I'm nursing my baby, right? And yes, I said my baby because I gave birth 9 months. I'm nursing the baby, and you tell me to make you a sandwich because you hungry, right? This is my dilemma because I'm getting attitude with you because when the baby is taken from me, this get me frustrated because it's pulling, right? All of my energy, all of my attention, and then now you want my attention as well, and I feel like it's a competition. So am I wrong to make sure the baby good first, and then I attend to you, and then when the baby able to tend or defend for themselves, then me and you could become a little bit more intimate and spend more time. Come on, Romy.
Yeah, those of us that have kids, anybody that's out there that's ever went through the whole nursing process, it's a lot. I can say for my son in particular, when he was born, I remember he couldn't take the regular like Similac, those brands like that. So I seen there was a discomfort, with his stomach and everything, and to see her have lack of sleep, I mean, it was just disheartening to even look at. It was just like you wasn't even thinking about nothing else but making sure that he was good. So I ended up doing the research. You talking about you standing for the women. I did the research in the middle of that. And they had one that was a purple top, and it said Total Comfort Care. And I was reading online where all of the mothers were saying it helped the kid immediately. Because sometimes that what people don't understand, when your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, whatever you have, your life partner, when they are pregnant, some women can't produce the milk immediately. Sometimes it takes up to 2 weeks, sometimes even 3 weeks. So that was the stage that we were at. And come to find out, he had what is called colic. And if you don't find a solution in that time frame, I can tell you, man, you will be there'll be a long lot of days of sleepless nights to see your girl go through those type of things. So I would say that it's gonna force you to have to get off of that ego, get off of that I'm the man of this house, I need this, this, and this, because you helped to procreate this child, and now you got to be a teammate and not the op in that situation. So that's my take on it.
Well, Lim, I got one for you. I just got a message, an incoming message.
Come on, bring it on.
Message. It's labeled life or death. And baby girl say, it is my sole responsibility above all other things to protect my children. I would sacrifice anything or anybody to protect them.
Mm.
What you
Come,
say?
is that the? Oh, is that? I get that. I take that.
What's for
So
you?
let me directly respond to that, and this is what you're gonna find out. And I'm gonna say it just like this: your children are given to you by God, and you have the responsibility to prepare them for life from 0 to 18, maybe 21. I'll give you 21. Now, what you're gonna find out is they have something called "I'm gonna do what I want to do." And that's irrespective of what you feel about as a parent. And you're gonna find out you don't have control over their life after a certain time. They can get pregnant by whoever they want to have get pregnant by. They can move to another city, right? They can take a job or not work. They can go to prison. So all of these decisions that you think you have control over, you realize a day is coming when your child is gonna say, "Mom, I'm good. Dad, I'm good. I got it from here. I'm gonna take it over. I want to do. It's my life. I'm gonna do what I want to do because I'm grown." See, so that is when. And let me say this, ladies and gentlemen, empty nest syndrome is real. When those kids go off to college, that house get real quiet, and then you gonna find out what kind of marriage and relationship you really got. When them kids, you can't use the kids as an excuse and a mask no more. They gone. Then what? Then you're gonna be on your knees with your significant other, talking about, "Lord, strengthen my marriage. Bring us to a place to where we need to be. Humble, respectful, and honorable in your sight. Amen." That's my response to young lady.
You know me. I'm just a messenger. Okay, Rome. I got another one for you. I don't know why I'm getting all these messages. Uh, this baby girl. Her name is Sandy. She say, "Here is my family's priority list. Just so you'll know, Rome. It's children's needs, number one, partners' needs, number two, partners' wants, number three, children's needs, number four. Obviously, it's not that hard, but it's just a fast rule, but general guidelines. Children can't meet their own needs while a grown adult can. However, keeping my partner happy and healthy is crucial for us to be a good parent team. So that takes priority over Tony's toy truck."
Hey, what was the first one again? Read that first one that she said in the order she did.
Children's needs. Her children
Children's
needs
name.
first. Partners
Okay,
needs second.
second.
Partners wants third. Children wants is last.
Well, my take on that is my first question would be: does she consider herself a Christian? Because if you consider yourself a Christian, I can tell you right now that you would fail that exam when you go to your premarital counseling. When that pastor breaks that thing down for you, you're going to be shocked at the things that he's going to tell you and lay on you. Um, what they say when you go to premarital counseling is God is first, always first and foremost. Secondly, is your spouse. Whether it's the woman is looking at the husband, it's the husband looking at the wife. Thirdly, is your children. Fourthly, is your job. So your motherly duties come behind your wifely duties. So I'm standing on the Christian side because that's what I am. I'm not any other faith, not knocking the sheeps of the other fold. Salute to you and what you do and what they teach. But I'm telling you from experience what they'll tell you when you go to premarital counseling. And if you're not with it, just don't say I do.
Well,
Stay where you are.
I'm gonna shake the boat a little bit. So me and Sandy going back and forth, and I kind of see where she coming from, and I kind of agree, right? And not because I ain't going against what the Bible say. We gonna keep that in place, right? We ain't changing that. But what she says specifically is this is her family dynamic. She not talking about God. She talking about her family, right? And so she said her kids' needs are first, and then her partner wants. So the wants is second on the list for her partner, right? But the only reason she labeled it like this, Lim, is because she feel like the kids can't. They don't have any control over anything. They can't take care of themselves. So it's the kids needs have to be first. So if a kid need to eat, you probably need to stop everything to feed the kids. Rome know that. If it's a baby, that stop all that you talking about. And then after that is the partner's needs. So your husband need a sandwich, go and make that sandwich because that is next in the line. So these are her priorities. And I don't think she was saying my partner wasn't first. She was just saying the family dynamics while my kids are still kids. Come on, Lim.
Well, okay, it goes without saying. Do anybody got to remind us to use the bathroom every day? Of course we're going to feed our kids. That's practical lifestyle stuff. I'm going to feed my kids because I got to eat. They got to eat. We all got to use the restroom. We talking about in the macro sense of what it takes to run a household. For there to be order, for there to be some level of homeostasis and peace, there has to be a hierarchy. Now let's do this. I'll throw it out there. Let's put the non-spiritual people approach to this. We don't believe in Christianity, no God, no nothing. We do this. So now what are the pros and cons of I'm going to put my children ahead of my spouse? Okay. Pro, I'm trying to develop a connection with my children. And I feel like that bond is stronger if I put them first. You can look at a pro and a con. Con, I'm going to do it sometimes at the behest of not spending enough time and checking in with my spouse, probably like I should. Because that connection between parent and child can turn into codependency if you're not paying attention. You know, it could get to an unhealthy place, i.e., children staying at home after 30. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not healthy. Now, I know what y'all gonna say. There's other cultures out there, right? You're not supposed to leave the house till you get married, right? You heard about them? I was talking to a young lady yesterday, and she told me in Mexico. She lives in Mexico. She said a man and a woman, well, a woman, not a man, should stay in the home until they get married. And I said, if it's 40 and 50, I said, wait a minute. After 40 and 50, maybe your time is up. I was just joking with her. But no, but you see, that's her culture to stay at home. Now, the challenge is Now we know in America how people and individuals talk about people who live at home at an exorbitant amount of time. But the truth of the matter is you have two parents, and if you have grown-ups living at the home past their expiration, something is happening. Something called maybe arrested development. Or something is the mama may be telling the father or vice versa. We don't let them stay as long as they want. They ain't bothering nobody. They just stay in their room and play PlayStation. They gonna be okay. But here's the truth. If we don't let our kids go out and find out what they made of, they never will know if you're always taking care of them and doing those things for them. So there's some pros and cons to allowing to get so connected emotionally in our children that we forget what came first, the kids or the marriage. The marriage comes first. And out of our wonderful marriage, we decide to bring these beautiful children in the world. And everything has an order and a place. That's where I'm at with it. Go ahead.
So what if you're not married? Number one, and then
Okay.
not right, and then so because just let's face it, a lot of people not getting married these days, or not even staying married,
That's
right?
true.
So that's number one. And let me say this in respect to Black History Month and this being the last week, right? Let me just say this then. I can't agree with the other cultures. And mainly because I see you, Lim, but I don't really see nothing wrong with baby girls staying till she 40, 50, 30, married, right? And let me just tell you why. Because if I'm able to, excuse me, if she's able to help build the family dynamics, right? Adding more money to the house, being able to understand how to fix your credit, save your credit, buy. I know a young lady, I ain't gonna say her name, but I know a young lady that moved out the crib right before she turned 40, not married, none of that. But she was able to buy not one, not like LeBron. She was able to buy not one, not two, three cribs. Two in California, nope, lying. One in California, two on the East Coast. And so my thing is, her parents set her up for extreme success. And when she went out with no debt. She went out with an 825 FICA, had a baby, living her best life. Had a baby. Yeah, she didn't get married, but had a baby, living her best life. So all I'm gonna say to you is, I don't really think that's a bad idea. I think the argument comes in if it's a good or bad idea when your son get over 30 years old staying at the crib. I think that is probably the biggest part. Let me just tell you why. You can help him on his feet and he can buy and all of that, but see, the thing is, being a man is tremendously different from being a female. And I'm not sexist. Let me say that to the audience. And I'm gonna say it again, I'm not sexist. But being a man, learning how to go out here and hunt, learning how to take care of the bills, the family, the mow the grass, and being able to take care of your own, having your own establishment is something you got to learn early. And early is before you hit 40, before you hit 30, if you want to put a number on it. That's Lowe's opinion. What you got for us, Robbie?
Hey, when we talk to single people out there in particular, of course you could put your kids first 100% of the time because you're in a single situation. You're not under. I seen a quote one time. It said, "Men build homes, boys play house." And I'll just put it in that dynamic. When you're in a situation where, because some people now, they choose to be single. Like Paul. Paul chose to be single. But guess what his focus was? Once he changed his life, he put his focus on God. So how many people are really putting their focus and energy really on God? So many women in particular are putting their young men from birth all the way up. It's almost like you raising them as if he's your man, and that's why I said on this platform before, if y'all was to love your man like your husbands, your fiancés, like you do your little boys, there's no telling where your relationship would be today, because we know you're gonna go to bat, like you just said it. You're gonna go to bat 10 times over for your son. You're going to go to doing all of these different dynamics. But fast forward to where we are today. What do y'all call these young men? Y'all call these young men sassy, zesty. So what I'm saying to you is that dynamic working? Let's be real. We're going to shake the boat. Let's shake the boat. We got to be real because this is the platform we on. We allowing these single women to do their thing, but yet, fast forward, what are the young ladies saying? They're saying they got too much feminine energy. Number one, he's too zesty. Number two, where are they getting that from? That's my question to you, the audience, to you as the brothers out there. That's my take.
I love it, Romy. That's how you shake. That's how you shake the boat. Come on, Lim. What's your response?
And these zesty and sassy men, I'm gonna have to say it. I'm gonna lean in. They most likely being raised in single parent households. That's what the numbers say, ladies.
Now
So
they
that
mama.
same young man
Now they
that
mama.
you coddle and spoil, then spare the rod, spoil the child. That's the same man that goes out into the dating pool and y'all like, what in the world? He too feminine. He ain't got no masculine. Well, you babied him and coddled him, and he ain't got no teeth, lady. He can't go out and hunt. He don't know how to go out there and provide. Now, I love the Animal Planet. That's one of my favorite things. And I'm gonna say it like this: if those cubs don't learn how to hunt, they gonna die. It ain't no in between. You either learn how to hunt or you die. Because what the lioness or the lion's going to do, they gonna just leave them and let them go. And the narrator always says it sounds cruel, but it's the laws of nature. In order for him to have or her to have a pride, they got to learn how to go out and hunt and take care of themselves. So, are we in the jungle? No. But life sometimes feels like a jungle when you can't provide for yourself and your family. It's hard. And so when we're raising children who don't have the requisite skills to go out and produce, let's say I like that word, produce, then what ends up happening is someone is going to end up dating them. And that person going to be very unpleased with their selection when they realize, wait a minute, ain't nobody taught you nothing? Where was you raised? Who raised you? That's a hell of a question to ask the audience. You get out the dating pool and you asking somebody, or you at least thinking it, who in the hell raised this young man or this young woman? Were they raised by wolves? That's my take.
Hey, I'm gonna shake the boat a little further. I think. Oh, I'm gonna say something. Ooh, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it, Lim, and I'm gonna tip the boat right here. But I saw this clip, and I can agree with it. I saw this clip on IG, and they was talking. I saw this clip. This little boy was at a football practice. I don't know if y'all saw this. He was at football practice, and the dad came over there and brought his water bottle and bought his cleats and bought his stuff to him and was hyping him up. And the coach was like, no, he was at track. I'm lying. He was at track practice. And it was a female coach. And she looked and she was like, man, hey, bro, what you still doing? She told the dad, what you still doing? She was like, what you going to bring him next? What you going to bring him next? Is pacifier? Like, she was like, well, why you keep bringing him all this stuff? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like basically you can exit, you can go wait in the car type stuff. Like you creating a monster because you too are contributing to the zestiness, the sassiness, like wrote the sassiness and all the him downstairs. That's you. You contributed to all of that. So what I'm saying to you is it ain't just a single mom. Let's just come on, man. It ain't. And then so Lim brought up the whole animal kingdom. One of my favorite stories is the young birds. Let me tell you what the birds do. They all in the nest and they get the bird nice and comfortable while it's still a chick, right? Bird in there, they go hunt, bring the worms, let you eat. But one day, the bird pick you up and throw you out the nest. I don't care how far you are. I don't care how far you up in the air. One day, the bird show you, okay, we take you down. I'm gonna show you how we go get these worms. But one day, they just crew and throw you completely out the nest. And it's either you gonna fly or die. It's just that. So we ain't talking about hunt or die, because it'd take a while for you to die without eating if you a cub. But for the bird, we gonna find out super fast. It's one or the other. You either gonna fly or die. And so at the end of the day, sooner or later, you gotta kick your kids out the nest. And I'm sorry, I ain't mean this child protective services, right? I don't want y'all coming out of me after me. But I gotta be very, very clear. Sooner or later, you gotta fly or die. Because one of my homegirls told me something so crucial, and I promise you, I'm gonna take this to my grave, my coffin. She said, Los, the most important thing, and my girl that told me this ain't even got no kids. She was like, Los, the most important thing you could do with your kids is to raise them to be successful without you. And I thought about it. And I was like, she was like, so all that other stuff don't matter. Degrees, going to college and trade. Can your kids survive if you not here? Period. Can they do that? And if you didn't do that and you don't believe they can, you didn't failed as a parent. And I had to look myself in the mirror and I said, you know what? You absolutely right. So I think everybody needs to look themselves in the mirror to be able to understand, are we teaching our kids core principles? And I know we got off the subject, right? So which one you pick? Let's get back on the subject, Romy, and tell us which one you pick. So after we talked about your wife come first, okay, cool. Then the kids come first, cool. But then what happens when your daughter get of age and she turned about 16, 17, she started feeling herself, and her and mom getting into it, right? You know, they getting, and women get into it. And just like men do on the flip side, but we talking about women, right? Women get into it, they battling. Dad, mom said this, and now she trying to get you to pick sides, and this your baby girl. And not that you gotta literally pick sides, but she need another approach because everything mom's saying ain't working because they almost getting ready to throw some hands.
Mm. You know, that's one of those things where you hear the stories all the time. When women have estrogen, men have testosterone, and you see, if it comes that time, people always say, "Hey, it may not happen, but don't be surprised if it does happen." Where the child bucks the system, if you will, and challenges you in a different way, and it has to be a lot of prayer. It has to be a lot of prayer in those situations because let's be real, a lot of the mothers, wives, single moms, they know how they grew up. They grew up where they had to throw hands in school. And that doesn't just leave you overnight. You still can do what you have to do. It's somebody out there right now that's going through some things with their daughter. I don't know anybody personally that's watching it right now, but I'm just saying somebody right now is going through that. And this is, if the father's still around, if there's a male figure still around that the young lady respects, this is the time that you would want her to sit down with that individual and be with them. Because if not, these things can really get ugly because it's only going to be so much a person can take. The Bible talks about he never give you, more than what you can bear. But what happens when you do get more than what you can bear? Everybody can become overwhelmed. And so at the end of the day, people skip that last scripture. He said he'll give you a way to escape. And so sometimes you got to remove yourself from what you would want to do. And you got to do things a little different, whether it may be, family counseling, bringing a third party in. But you got to do those type of things because, you know, fighting is definitely not the best way to go about things, but it's real. And you got to get past that to come to a resolution. That's my take.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So at the end of the day, the premise of all of this is you got to be able to choose wisely, right? And so the question I'm asking is, what happened if you are a single mom, and then a man come in your life, right? You are a single mom, Lim. A man come into your life, then we got to be able to acquiesce and change our schedule. I used to tuck my son in. I used to give him a kiss goodnight. We used to pray together. I used to let him sing the lullabies to him. But then my husband say, "Come on in here and watch this Law and Order." And at the end of the day, or get in order. He said, "Watch the Law and Order, or hey, Romeo, or get in order." And so at the end of the day, you got options to choose. I mean, so do you still spend this rigorous good night plan you had with your son, or do you switch it up? What we doing, Romy? Let's talk about let's talk about real stuff. If you want to talk real, let's keep it real then.
Hey, she'll bring Lim up for us, please. I'm gonna let Lim go first, then I'm gonna take that same thing that you just touched on. Go ahead, Lim.
Well, the part I heard was about putting the child to sleep, come watching Law and Order. But I always go to this one. While you sing the lullaby and praying for the baby and reading a good night story, you can't come back to bed and not lift the leg, ladies. I'm just saying. You gotta come back to the bed and know that we've done all we're
Hey,
supposed to do for the kids for the night.
Come back to bed and lift the leg. Put that
And
sand.
come back to bed and lift the leg. You know what I'm saying? Be prepared for this. Don't let don't let your husband go to sleep backed up like a plumber. You supposed to help lift him and unclog him so he can be ready to fight them bears all in the world as a black man in this world. That's what I got to say.
hey, hey, let me get some of that same one. You know what was wild is you can have your nightly routines and your different things. I used to date a young lady that had a kid. Actually, she had a boy and a girl. And one day we were going to like we'll just call it a safari trail where you go in your car and you go look at the animals. And she said, "Hey, can you take my son, to the bathroom? He has to go." And I said, "Okay." So we went to the stall because the urinals was all occupied, and my man actually sat down to pee, and he was like 5 years old. And so I was like, "Whoa!" I said, "I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, is this the way he does things?" So I didn't correct him in the moment. I just let him do his thing because that's what he was used to. So I was like, okay, man, come on. And when I got back to after everything, we got back to our apartment. I said, "Hey," I said, "you do know you teaching this young man the wrong way to do things." I said, "He shouldn't be sitting on the toilet. The man should be standing, lift up the seat. He should know how to do all of those things." And I had to like walk her through how to do it with a water bottle. And I was teaching her like the little shake thing and all of that. And that was just something that she had no clue about as a single woman. And I was just like, wow, sometimes you take things for granted, but it's one of those things where women will teach the young man the way that they know how to do things sometimes. And that was one of those things where since you sit down, you let him go and sit down. And she didn't realize that was teaching him the wrong way to go about things. So me coming in at the age of 5, and after that day, it was just that one day after that, he said, "Oh, I like that way better." This is what he told me. He looked, and I was just like, wow, man, had I not came along, I don't know how long that would have lasted, along the way. So it's things like that can extend to 10 years old, 15 years old. And let me be real here, folks. This is how you know that fathers are absent or wasn't really around in a grown man's life. I've been to sporting events. Los and I went to a Falcons game. I go to the restroom. It's a dude in there with his shirt, everything down. Like, whoa, wait a minute, bro. Pause. Time out, man. Like, you can't be using the urinal at this age, pulling everything down. And so that right there let me know that men need to be involved in these young men's lives, because it's things like that that the mothers don't even know. So they just let them go and be freely. So what I'm saying to you is that sometimes, yes, you can raise a young man, but it's certain things that you can miss as a woman because you're not the man. And if you miss those things and he becomes a man, this dude that I seen in that restroom, he had to be every bit of 40 plus. And you seeing that means he's been doing that all his 40 years. And all the dudes was in the restroom looking like, we all looking the same, like, whoa, like everybody stayed far away from that side. But it was one of those things like, whoa, pause. So I'm just saying, folks, we got to make sure we put men in young men's lives that you raising up that's positive, because there's some things that you do as women and think it's fine. I'll give one more. When they go off to college, I knew how to wash my own clothes. I knew how to clean the bathroom. But it's some people who get off to college, the mother always cleaned their room. The
That's right.
mother always washed their clothes. The mother always cooked their food. So I'm looking like, dude, what you gonna do? You're gonna sit here and starve, but you talking about living off campus in an apartment? There's no guarantee you're gonna get a girlfriend. If that girl don't like your personality, she don't like your attitude, there's no way you're going to keep a girl. You might get her for a day, but you won't be able to keep the relationship. So mothers, I encourage you, along the way of you teaching them, buying all these J's, all up in the video, all this other stuff, make sure you teaching them, Los just said it, the essential things, because if something was to happen to you, guess what? That young man is going to come up, and these same young ladies going to be saying he's zesty, too much feminine energy, and yada, yada, yada. That's my take.
I mean, so look, I think I think Ron right. I remember one girl I knew. She was like, "Man, ain't no tissue in there," and I was looking like, "Man, he just had to pee." She wanted my man to wipe himself with some tissue like she do, and I looked at her, I was like, "Hey man, we shake him." And my uncle said, "If you shake him more than 2 times, you playing with yourself." So I just had to tell her like. We shake that thing. We shake it till it's dry, and that's it. We air dry. But Rome is absolutely right. Let me shake the boat this last time. And matter of fact, this might be the next topic we got. I want y'all to shout out to my boy Bishop. I miss Bishop. I'm gonna get him on this. I'm gonna try to get him on for the next one, right? So Bishop made this strong comment a while back. I got to go through the records to find it. And Bishop was like, I am willing to bet that a father would do a better job with raising either or a boy child or a girl child better than a woman would do both. And I was like, Bishop, what you mean? So you know me, I'm always trying to argue. What you mean, Bishop? He was like, the father can take the emotions out of it. Yeah, he can't he can't teach a young lady to be a woman, but he could show her responsibility. He could show her, discipline. He could show her all the other intangibles. But a woman can she could try to show responsibility, but she also a nurturer by nature, right? She also a little bit softer by nature. Big mama could be as mean as she want to. She still ain't no man. It's sooner or later when you hit that 16, 17, your chest start poking out, and Big Mama say, "I'm gonna go get that belt, go get it then." Deal with Big Mama gonna say. That don't hurt. I remember my cousin took the belt from my aunt and gave it to her. Chill, that don't work no more. That had to be the craziest bitch. He took the belt from her. That don't work no more. Now what you gonna do? So one would say, will a father do? And I'm not trying to turn men against women like Bishop. Right? That ain't what I'm trying to do. But I think he might have had a good point on this one. Come on, Lim. Closing remarks. What you say?
That's a tough one. I will say there is a conflict probably that happens with some women when it comes to them being nurturers and not being able to be disciplinarians. Not saying they can, but when it comes down to it, I don't think we as men are in conflict. We know that it's going to take a certain level of discipline in order for our children to be able to make it on their own. And that's the goal. That the goal for no matter who you are, single parent, married, whatever, and all in between. I think we all can agree we want our kids to be able to make it in the world without us. We want to prepare them to be successful when we're not around. So that way we don't have to be worried. And I'll say this, I think a lot of times the reason why a lot of parents are worried unnaturally for their children is because there's probably some work that was undone in them. Maybe there's some lessons that were undone in them, and they know that their child is not prepared for this world that don't love them like they do. So that's a thought right there, right? So we have to understand the goal is the same, no matter whether you black, white, blue, or green. I think we all want our children to be successful. We all want them to be able to prosper and be an independent, accountable, responsible human being when we're not around. And sometimes that takes hard love, not that nurturing baby boo 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 boo, but some nah nigga, get your ass in the you over here, and I need to get in your chest right quick. Right, I gotta remind you, I got grown man strength. You got little nigga strength. I'm just gonna say it like I got grown man strength. So sometimes you just shake them and get them back, not to hurt them, but just to remind them, I love you, but I'm gonna be tough on you because I want you to be a man, a real man, not a sassy man. So it's a difference. But that's my last take. And hey, this is a wonderful show, fellas. I really appreciate this. Go ahead.
Come on, Rome. Closing remarks. What you got for us?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're gonna keep the thing a thing. We was talking about, basically keeping the spouse before the kid, the partner before the children before the spouse. I'll just say, as for me and my household, saying we gonna put the Lord first. We're gonna do the things the way it is that way. Because at the end of the day, um, you gotta see your maker at the end. So all of this stuff on this earth don't matter if we ain't doing this. I look at life as, you remember as a kid, we came up, your teacher would give you that 12-inch ruler, and you would always have to measure different things. Life is about measurement. It's all about what you did. It ain't no more, I wish I coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. So at the end of the day, you can take care of your children. You can fend for your children. You can go to bat for your children. You can go to bat for your husband. But at the end of the day, we're all measured on what we did and what we didn't do. So at the end of the day, I just say, let your house be a house of love, and make sure that you walking in love. Because if you have kids like mine, you going to piano practice, you going to damn baseball, this basketball, this and this. Before you know it, you torn all different kind of ways, and you can become overwhelmed if you don't watch it. So you have to have a method to the madness. So I always tell everybody, don't lose your head trying to focus on the baby or the man or the woman. Make sure that you have a way to have an outlet, whatever that is. If you go to the gym several days a week, if you go do the Pilates several days a week, whatever it is that you do, walks, whatever the case may be, read your books, make sure you don't lose yourself having your spouse, being a mother, because along the way, you can lose yourself in the midst of all of those different things. So know your role and responsibilities, but don't lose yourself, is what I'll say. Because once you lose yourself, you find yourself depressed. You find yourself going through mood swings. You find yourself being frustrated. You find yourself being in anger, and it's you're torn, and you're being in all these different places. And you wonder, where did all that stem from? It stems from you losing yourself along the way. So let's just say, here it is. You've been married 20 years. You're a wife. You're a mother, but you don't know who you are. You're a husband, you're a father, but you don't know who you are. So what that boils down to is, don't lose yourself, know your purpose, know your worth, and that's what it's about.
I love it. I'm gonna be real short and simple. I'm gonna remix the Big Mama Lim. I'm gonna remix it real quick. She might be mad at me, but rest her soul, right? Big Mama used to say. I mean, a lot of people say, and the saying is, happy wife, happy life, right? But I'm gonna remix it. We gonna say happy spouse, happy house, right? And so that's how we gonna remix this thing. It ain't about the wife no more. It's about the spouse. So happy spouse, happy house. Say it with me. And so we'll make sure we continue to put each other first and put God first. Then we want to be able to put your pecking order as it relates to your family. You got to listen. We just talking crazy. Do what works for you. Rome says, as far as me and my household, you got to do what works for you. I know what works for me. Rome knows what works for him. Young Lim know what works for him. And so we got to continue to do you as long as you happy. I want you to put God first and put your happiness first. How about that? Your happiness come before your spouse or them kids. How about that? And you heard it from me. Your happiness come first. Then your wife and them kids. Huh? Tell them I said it. Big Low said it. I said it. Okay. That's the end. We love you, baby. We'll see y'all next week.
Have a good night.